lesson will be circles, cylinder, cones and sphere. And then first of all, this is a broad topic, so we're going to talk about the circles and then surface of cylinder and cone first, and then the lesson 20 we continued with this topic, so volume of cylinder and cone. Then we are going to talk about all about the sphere in the lesson 20. So let's begin with the part of circle. So here, these are all parts of the circles, and this is very important. Later on, we are going to learn more about circles, that you must know about all the parts of circles. Let's have a look at it with me. The first of all, you can see the circumference. Circumference is the outside edge of the circle. All around the circle is called the circumference. And then you can see the diameter, and the diameter is a straight line that goes through the center. You can see the center of the circle in the middle, right? Then now we know that radius is a half of the diameter. Then another line called the chord, and then chord is a straight line that joins any two parts of the circumference. It does not go through the center. That's different between the diameter and then chord. Then next one is a arc, and arc is a section of the circumference that is just part of the circumference is called the arc. And then there is a specific area called the sector, and sector is bounded by two radius and an arc, and this area is called the sector. And then another area called the segment, and segment is bounded by the circumference and a chord. And then finally, there is a line outside of the circle, and then the straight line that touches the circumference at a single point, and this is called the tangent. Then now this is all part of the circle, and I really want you to remember all of this clearly. So now pause the video, and then now memorize all the parts, and then once you've done, then you play the video again. Okay, so well done. So are you sure you memorize all the parts of circles? Shall we check together? So first one, just shout out the answer for me. So first one is, yes, right, this is the radius, half of the diameter, right? So you can see the diameter here. Then the all around the circle chord, yes, it's the circumference. And then there is another line that is called the chord, and then part of the circumference is called the arc. And then tangent is the outside line that touches the circumference. And how about these shaded regions? The first region is called the, yes, right, is segment. And then next part is the radius, and then we've got an arc. That is the sector. Okay, well done. I'm pretty sure that you got all right answer. Right, so now let's move on to the next topic of the circle. Now let's go about the pi. So you are very familiar with the pi, right? Whenever you've got a circle, you always can see pi, and you also know that pi is a 3.14, and it goes on, right? So now, then if I ask what is a pi, what is definition of pi, how will you say? So have a look at this one. I've got three different sized circles. And then the diameter is, the largest one is 100 millimeter, and then the middle size is a 10 millimeter, and then the smallest one is 1 millimeter. So, and then now what I did is I measured the circumference of these circles using the tape measurement. Then I've got a circumference of the largest circle is 340 millimeter, and then middle one is 31.4 millimeter, and then the smallest one is 3.14 millimeter. And then now try to have a look, try to focus on the relationship between the circumference and diameter. Do you think you can spot the pattern? So what's the pattern? Say that definitely the commonality between the diameter and circumference regardless of the size of the circles. So the answer is, have a look at this one. Then we realize that circumference divided by diameter is always same number. That is called a pi, and then here I just wrote 3.14, but it's 3.14159, and then you've got more numbers. So have a look at it. So now what you can notice here is circumference is always 3.14 times bigger than the diameter. So first of all, so let's divide the circumference by the diameter. 314 divided by 100, that is 3.14. Then 31.4 divided by 10 is 3.14. And then now 3.14 divided by 1 is 3.14. You can see that. You can see the pattern, right? Say circumference divided by diameter is always the same number, and then that is called the pi. Now, since we know what is a pi, then let's talk about the formula for the circumference of circles. Now, using this one, so we find out circumference divided by diameter makes pi regardless of the circle. That now, how can you find the circumference of a circle? So now you can change your subject, right? So C divided by D equals pi, then C equals, then now you can times D each part, then D times pi. That is the formula. So we can say that circumference is always pi times diameter. Then another thing we can notice here is diameter is 2 lots of radius, right? So radius, so I've got wrong spelling here, radius. That now 2, so instead of D, we can say 2r, right? 2r pi. So another formula we can change using this one is 2 pi r is the formula for the circumference of a circle, and this is really important. So once you understand how you can get the formula, then please memorize it. So circumference of a circle is C equals D pi or 2 pi r. Now we know that the circumference of a circle is pi r, 2 pi r. Then let's talk about area of circles. So how to calculate the area of circles? We already know how to calculate the triangles and their four-sided shapes, but circle is something we don't know, right? That first of all, here I've got a circle, then I cut the circles into the small parts. It's like a pizza slices. Then I rearrange these slices, like I arrange the white part all the way up, and then the gray part all the way down. Then now we can say that the circle, the area of a circle is equal to this. It's like four-sided. It looks like a four-sided shape, right? Then this shape. These are the equal size, right? Then now what I did here is I cut this into the really small pieces and rearrange this into the same way. Then what you can discover is, so the circle turned into the rectangle, right? So now what we can say here, instead of finding the area of a circle, we can calculate the area of a rectangle, because we already know that how to calculate the area of a rectangle, right? So now what we need to do here is we need to identify the length and width, because that's how we calculate the rectangle. So first of all, you can see the gray part of the pizza slices, and then now you can see the radius, right? Then now I'm going to draw the line around the half of the circle, the yellow part, and then shaded part I draw the line with the blue one. Then do you agree with me? I'm going to draw the yellow line on the top, and on the bottom I draw with the blue part. Then what did you notice here? The circumference is all around the circle, right? That is a 2 pi r. That's what we know. Then now the yellow part is half of circumference. And also the blue part is a half of circumference, right? And then that is a pi r. Then now what we can say here, this shape is exactly the same as the rectangle, right? That we know that the width of a rectangle will be the radius, right? Because it's just one of the part of the sector, right? And then now we also notice that length will be half of the circumference. That's why we can say length is a pi r. Then now all we need to do is times together the length times width is the area of the rectangle and then also area of the circle, right? So our length is a pi r and then width is a r. Then finally we can get the formula for the area of a circle, that's pi r squared. So another formula you need to remember is a pi r squared. So let's talk about together. So circumference of the circle is, yes, 2 pi r. That's because its diameter times pi is always circumference. And then area of a circle with a pi r squared. So please memorize this one. Then now let's calculate our perimeter and area of a circle here. So when you have a perimeter and area, just write down your formula first. Perimeter, you remember, right? It's 2 pi r, and then area is pi r squared. So 2 pi r is a 3, so 2 pi times 3 is a 6 pi is your perimeter. In this video, I'm not going to calculate the pi because you need a calculator. So let's just write down your answer with the pi. And then the second one, 2 pi r is 1, so we can say it's 2 pi. Then let's move on to the area. Pi r squared, then r is 3, so pi 3 squared is 9 pi. And then now pi 1 squared is 1 pi. This pi is your answer for the area. Now, about this shape? It looks like circle, right? Then try to focus on the first shape is it's a semicircle, right? So how shall we find the perimeter and then area of the semicircle? So what we need to do is a perimeter. Don't get confused with the perimeter and circumference. Perimeter is not a circumference. Perimeter is all around the shape. So what you need to do is you need to find the circumference of half of circumference of the circle, and then you need to add up the other part as well. So first of all, then the other part, the blue part as well. So yellow part plus blue part together, that's the perimeter. Okay, now let's calculate the yellow part. As we already know that yellow part is half of the circumference of the circle, right? So 2 pi r is 5, then you divide by 2, then 5 pi is the half of the circumference of this part, circle. Then now we need to add up the 10. This is the perimeter of the shape. Then now let's move on to the area. Then area is different because area is, you just simply find the area of the circle, then you halving it. That's how you find the area of the semicircle, right? So we know that pi r squared and half of pi r squared is 25. So half of 25 pi will be 12.5 pi is the area of this semicircle. So now next one. So have a look at this one. It's not circle, but it's part of a circle. Then we can notice that this is, this is a 3/4 of a circle, right? So since this is a perimeter, focus on your circumference and then the other part of the shape as well. So adding the yellow one and then blue one, then we know that the yellow is a 3/4 of the circumference, right? So 3/4 times 2 pi r, then our r is 5, so radius is 5, so then we can simplify it. Then we got a 15 pi half, that's 7.5 pi. Then now don't forget to add up the two sides. That's 10. So answer will be 10 plus 7.5 pi. Perimeter question is always, don't forget to add up the size. Now let's move on to the area. Area is a bit simpler because just, 3/4 of the whole area of the circle. So now pi squared, so that's 25. So now let's times together then 75 quarters pi. Then now this is, you divide by it, then I'm just going to write down my answer with decimals. That it will be, so the answer is 18.75 pi. Okay, so look at this shape, and it looks like circle, but it's not perfect circle, right? And then now you realize that this is a compound shape. So let's divide the shape into different sections. Then you can see that in the middle there is a rectangle. Then now two sides, two parts, you can see the semicircles, right? So you've got a semicircle, 1, and then the number 2 is the rectangle. What we can do is put the semicircles together, that it can be full circle. Then now we've got rectangles. All we need to do is, let's do the area first because area is much easier. So to find the area of this compound shape, finding the circle, then now add up the rectangle. So area of a circle, pi squared, right? Then you know that the r is that is 2.5 since diameter is 5, right? So 2.5 squared is 6.25. Then pi is the 2 part of the semicircle. Then what we need to do is finding the area of the rectangle. Then length and width is 1 times 5. And then the final answer will be 5 plus 6.25 pi. And this is our answer. Then now let's talk about the perimeter. Perimeter, now have a look at it. So all around the shape, that's the perimeter. That what we can see is, first of all, we can find the circumference of the circle. That now we need to add up the middle part, right? So circumference of the circle is 2 pi 5 pi. That now you can see the blue bit that should be added up, right? So 2 plus 5 pi is the perimeter of this compound shape. Now in this video I didn't really mention about the unit, but please, when you write your answer, please don't forget to put the units. So when it comes to the area, it must be centimeter square or meter square or millimeter square, okay? Well done, this is end of the first part of the video. That in this video we've been talking about the part of circles. If you're not sure about the part of circles there, then just back to the very beginning of the video and then watch it again, then memorize all the part of a circle. Then now we also talked about the perimeter and the circumference of a circle. Then formula was perimeter is 2 pi and then area is pi squared. And then now next video we are going to be talking about the surface area of the cylinders and then cones. Okay, I will see you at the next session. Bye bye.